I'm Ryan Chambless, and you're watching Average Joe Sports Talk. Ryan Chambless, head coach, Glencoe High School.
Coach, I've actually had the pleasure of playing you back in the day and getting to know you back then a little bit from our playing days, and kind of watched your career, from afar, and obviously very successful as a coach and also a player at Alexandria. Before we get into that, I love to start these interviews out. Where were you born and raised, and talk about your childhood growing up?
I was actually born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Never lived in Tennessee a day in my life. My dad was coaching at Bridgeport, which is like North Jackson High School now. I lived the majority of my childhood at Alexandria, and that's where I graduated high school. And my mom still lives there today. Grew up playing for Coach Ginn there, and was fortunate to get to be a part of a lot of wins and championships during my time in high school, and so it was a great place to grow up.
Now, you mentioned Larry Ginn. He's a very special person. He's an anchor in that community, really across the state of Alabama, for multiple reasons. When I say the name Larry Ginn, what comes to mind first?
Oh man, I just I think of the kind of coach he was. Great competitor, great teacher. Very disciplined. I've always appreciated Coach Ginn as a coach and the kind of person he was towards me. I think probably more importantly, but just a tremendous competitor and extreme hard worker. I think that's one of the biggest things people forget about winning is there's a lot of hard work involved in it, and I don't think anybody outworked Coach Ginn.
Obviously, man, the proof is in the pudding. He was a 3-time state champion there under Coach Ginn, 2 in football and 1 in basketball. Talk about that group of guys that you come up with. A lot of coaches that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, but at Alexandria at that time, you guys didn't think you could lose, I'm sure. Talk about that group.
We always, I'd say most of those guys in that group, we were together from probably 4th grade to the time we graduated. Matt Campbell came in about the 7th grade, and somewhere in that time we got Scott Campbell. He moved in, but I'm telling you, we were together from 4th grade on, and we were tied as brothers and still are. And Coach Ginn had 2 sons that I played with, Todd and Scott, and we were like brothers. And I think that's one of the biggest things that made us such a good team is that we were really tight. You look at any successful team, I guarantee you they all get along, they all got each other's back, and I think that's one of the biggest things that made us so successful is that we never thought we were going to get beat. Never did.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who was playing. We thought it could have been the Chicago Bulls or the San Francisco 49ers, and we thought we was going to beat them.
We're going to figure out a way.
That was it. We thought we was going to win.
And you mentioned Todd and Will, man, and then you got people like Kyle Davis, Jonathan Miller, Coach Jennings. Several guys across the state to this day that's still coaching. There had to be something that Coach Ginn was doing there that cultivated other leaders. Can you talk about that? Because you're one of them as well. Obviously, a product of a great time frame, and you had great players doing their maximum potential under Larry Ginn, which has in turn created other leaders who went out and coached great teams.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I know Coach Ginn, he had high expectations for you. And like I said, he was the example of that himself, by the way he worked, by the way he carried himself as a man, by the things he taught. He lived it. You know, he was a true living example of what he was trying to get you to do. And I think that was probably more important than anything else. And like I said, on top of that, man, he was a great coach. I mean, just, you know, beside the fact of the kind of man he was, and I played college ball for Mark Turgeon and Coach LaPlante, and, you know, I mean, Coach Ginn could have been any kind of Division I coach that he wanted to be. There's no doubt. I mean, he was just that good of a coach. But like I said, he was an even better person.
Now let me ask you this: at what point during your playing days did something click in your head and you're like, "Man, I think I can teach these games or these sports"?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe you know, my dad was a principal at Alexandria for 29 years, I think, and that was his lifelong career, basically. So I lived at home, and I was getting that at home, and you know, I always really looked up to, you know, talk about Coach Ginn. I always really admired Andy Shaw and Frank Tucker and Daryl Hamby, who wound up being the head coach at Weaver for a long time, and they were all the assistants at Alexandria during that time. So, you know, I looked up to them guys, and I wound up playing at JSU, and I guess at some point it just kind of dawned on me, I don't really know nothing else. You know, I can't weld, I can't build houses, I'm not you know, I don't have a skillful kind of trade, and this is all I've ever been around, so I don't really know anything else.
That's right.
And so, you know, you wind up not being able to play anymore, and you're like, well, I can't play, so I might as well coach. I mean, that's right. I don't know nothing else. So
yeah, it's something that you kind of obviously, I ain't gonna say fell into. It's like it was bred into you, kind of.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you a question. You went to Snead and played in Jacksonville, both. Talk about those two experiences and how they were different but similar.
Snead State kind of came about just my senior year. I didn't have a lot of opportunities, you know, a couple of JUCOs, and I can't even remember nothing real significant, you know, but Snead State gave me an opportunity, and actually I remember having a talk with Coach Turgeon. He was at JSU at the time, and he basically told me if I could prove I can play guard in junior college, that he'd consider me at JSU. And I went to Snead for 1 year, and I think I proved I could do it. And the next year, that following May, I was at JSU. So
yeah, because you was forward on the Alexandria team, correct?
Mostly played post for the most part. Yeah,
I remember. Now, when you got out of college, where was your first teaching and coaching job at?
My first job was at Oxford High School. I did student teaching there, and got hired on. They had a spot, and I just got hired on to help Coach Davison for a year, one season. And tell you, I learned a lot from Coach Davison, and that's really, I guess, what opened my eyes to, like, you know, I've had Coach Ginn, I've had Coach Turgeon, who I played there, and Coach LaPlante. And then when you start coaching, it's different than just playing. You got to learn how to, you know, get through to other people what you want them to know, and it doesn't matter how much you know if you can't get your players to, you know, do it and perform it. So, but I learned a lot of different things from Coach Davison too, and his approach was different than Coach Ginn. So, I mean, it was good that I had that experience with Coach Davison. I learned a lot from him in just a short time, so that was good.
When did you get your first head job?
It was the following year I went to Ohatchee, and I was there for 4 years.
Well, what was going through your head when you was about to take the court for the first time as a head coach?
Oh man, I don't
think he was ready.
I don't remember that, but I remember the first and only time I had to play when I was at Ohatchee. I had to play Coach Ginn at Alexandria, and that might be the sickest feeling I've ever had in my entire life in a gym, was having to look down there at the guy wearing orange that probably taught you everything, and you just know there's no way I can outsmart this guy. I can't outcoach him. I can't outsmart him. This is bad, and it's one of the most uncomfortable feelings I think I've ever had. As a coach, for sure.
That made you feel uneasy, I'm sure.
Very uneasy, and I was 24, maybe at the time, 25, and I was just a man. Just looking down there, and you're down the court from a legend that you just know you can't beat. So that was a rough feeling.
Man, that had to be kind of unique, but I guarantee you learned something just from that one experience.
Oh yeah, you learn a lot every game from you do. You pick up, you learn a lot from failure. You learn a lot from success, and I guess that's just really how you improve.
Now, you ended up eventually getting a job at Jacksonville and was the boys and girls coach. How did that come about?
I had just had my oldest son Jake at the time, and I was working at St. Clair County, and I was only there a year. They made a football coaching change in Hatchet, and I went to St. Clair, and I kind of thought I wanted to get away from home a little bit and try something different. And St. Clair was a good school. It's a gorgeous school, and I was kind of wanting to get back around the house because, like I said, I was then a dad, just became a dad, and so a lady called me and said there was a job open at Jacksonville and was I interested. I said yeah, and it was actually just a teaching position. It wasn't no coaching involved really. And at that time it was Roland Houston was the football coach, so Coach Houston got me in there to actually coach football. And the next year I wound up being the head girls basketball coach, and I think I just did girls for 2 years, and I think my third year I wound up taking over the boys when Kingston he took on a big technology director role, and he stepped out of coaching, and I was just kind of sitting there, and that's just kind of how it happened. So.
And in 2012, you won the state championship with the girls. Also was named Coach of the Year. Take us back to that season, man. How special was that, and how did that all come about?
Well, Coach of the Year really only happens because you got the Player of the Year and had an MVP. And to this day, I've always compared her to Kobe Bryant and Lacey Buchanan. Like, Lacey was the biggest winner I think I've ever coached to this, and just her leadership and her ability to get the other girls to play harder. And she was a great player, but she was a great leader. And now obviously we had other really good athletes, and that year there was a certain group I coached for I guess almost 5 years because they were really young my very first year, and I coached them all the way through, and that was really my last year coaching girls up there and when they graduated. But Lacey was a great player, great leader, and she made everybody else around her better. And that's just always stuck in my mind about her, is how she made everybody better around her.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How awesome was it to see that group come up like that together and then finally cut down the nets like that?
Yeah, it's really good. And like I said, Angel Kid, and it was Virginia Poe, and all of them were the same age, I guess, and I think they were 8th grade when we started, or they might have been 7th grade, I can't remember now. But their senior year, we went back to Birmingham and got back in the finals, and we ended up being runner-up.
Yeah.
About 3 minutes cost us of that game. We didn't play, and I can remember it right now. And we wound up being state runner-up to Deshler, who was really good. But that's how their career ended, was being runner-up. But there's no telling how many games those girls won as a group.
Oh yeah.
You talk back to teams and groups and how they gel together and how they get along. That group, there was about 10 of them that were like sisters. I mean,
Yeah.
they were just real tight.
Let me ask you a question. during those times at Jacksonville when you was coaching both boys and girls, how many hours a week would you say you put in?
It's rough.
You was teaching full time too as well, right?
Yeah, and I actually had good help. I had good assistants helping me, and you know, I really did. Like, I had good help around me, and no way I could have done it without those guys. But Coach Austin at Spring Garden, I talked to him before I took it.
Ricky.
And I said, man, how in the world am I going to do this? You know, and of course his wife was a Division I coach, and I think he's got a big advantage there and with her. But, you know, we had talked about it, and like I said, I've told Bryant Ginn at Ohatchee several times, brother, at some point you're going to have to pick one because you're going to get older and it's going to get tougher. And the biggest thing to me, man, was the days we practiced. You know, it seemed like you practiced for 5 hours or better. You know, just the practice days were tough. Game days were a little easier to me. Practice time was tough.
Even workouts had to be challenging, correct?
Yeah, you do 2 different summer workouts usually during the summer, or 3 because I coached football, and you know, so I mean, you just.
Man.
Yeah, you just go.
Weeks, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a little tasking. Yeah.
Ain't no doubt about it, man. Now, when did you leave to go to Rome?
I was at Rome last season. I've always kind of wanted to do this big school thing and just prove to myself that I could go somewhere where I have absolutely no ties. I have absolutely nobody I know. I have absolutely zero advantage to being there, and just see what I can do. Just as far as a basketball coach, and that opportunity came out of absolutely nowhere, you know. And I mean, really, the principal I worked for at St. Clair County is a track coach in a school in Georgia. He retired and went over there to coach, Mr. Terry, and he had a buddy at Rome High School who was a track coach, Nick Bridges. And Nick Bridges had got a hold of my resume and called me, and I said, yeah, I'd love to come out there and talk to, you know, Coach Reed, Dr. Holland about doing it. And it was a good experience. It was just very tasking on the family part. I mean, we were living in Pleasant Valley, and I'm driving from basically
so you did the commute daily?
Every day, from Webster's Chapel area right here,
wow,
all the way to Rome every day and back, and you play all over Georgia, you know.
Oh yeah.
So that's what really, you know, when this opportunity came here, I thought, man, this is somewhere where I can bring my kids.
Oh yeah.
And we can be together, and it's a great school, a great community, and I thought, man, this would be what I've been praying about, man, that I can bring everybody together and actually have my kids involved in what I'm actually doing, and I can be a part of what they're doing.
That's huge.
It is, because in Rome, I might as well have been a Division I coach traveling every night, you know.
That's right.
And it was that side of it was tough, and but like I said, it's been very good here.
How did it come about getting in here at Glencoe? I know you obviously remember when you and I were in school, Donnie Pruitt had this thing rolling here.
Yeah, he did, and those guys, you know, was winning about the same time we were rolling right down the highway here, and yeah, they were very competitive for a long time, and not saying they haven't been competitive since then, but they were very competitive consistently, and I think that's something that I'm really trying to preach and really trying to do is like, hey, we don't want to just be good this year. We want to get on a roll right here and be consistently good. And to do that, you gotta consistently work to improve.
That's right.
And like I said, that's something I learned from my dad and Coach Ginn, even when I was 12, 13 years old. If you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna be the best, you gotta consistently work to be the best.
That's right.
You know? So that's what we're trying to do, and I think we got a lot of guys that's buying in and a lot of positive things going on, and guys are working, you know, and trying to get better. They're trying to make strides to get better.
Talk about this nucleus you have here. It's a very young group of guys, talented guys that I can tell by watching them play, they love the game.
Yeah, I think number one, from the 3 seniors we got down to the group of freshmen, everybody is giving a lot of effort. I mean, I think the attitudes have been good. I think the effort's been really good. Guys are coming in on their own early, working on their shot, working on ball handling, you know, doing chair drills, stuff like that on their own. I try to get here an hour before practice and give them an extra opportunity, and most of them, if not all of them, are taking advantage of that. And I just think we got a group of guys that's truly hungry to win, and you know, we're having to learn from a little bit of mistakes, and like last night, you know, we got beat by 3, and you can go and look at getting beat by 3. What are the mistakes that led up to you getting beat by 3? You know, and hopefully the next time we don't make those mistakes. You know, so I think the guys are really working hard, man. I've been as pleased with this group of guys as I truly was pleased with, and I mean this, like Lacey's group and that group of girls. They're similar in their makeup, you know, the way that they want to win, and they come to work. Like I said, their attitude and effort has been spot on, and you know, we had a little setback last night, a little hiccup, but I can't say enough about the guys and how they're working. You know, they're putting the work in. So
having such a young team, what are your challenges? Your number one challenges to get these guys to consistently, you know, day in day out perform? Like you said last night, it was a little minor hiccup, but you know, talk about the challenges of having such a young team and keeping that consistency level.
Yeah, I think when you're young, you know, and I look back, like I said, to even the girls, these young guards a lot of times, Garrett and Jaden and Cooper, and you know, and I even last night I looked at all the guys. I said, guys, to me, all of y'all are young, because this is my first year with y'all, and nobody really completely grasped what I'm trying to do yet, and every day is a teaching thing. Braylon Smith, man, has done a great job, and Wade, and you know, Aiden can absolutely shoot the ball. I mean, he is such a catch and shoot guy, and you know, but they're learning from these mistakes that they're making, and I think everybody's been pretty willing to. To me, the biggest thing you got, inexperience and youth. I look at my own self. I mean, the confidence. You know, sometimes that confidence gets a little rattled. You know, and you got to get reassured and retaught. And I think that's the biggest thing is sometimes confidence may get, you know, take a hit there, and you just gotta keep working, just keep doing this, keep battling, keep coming, you know, you just gotta stay with it, just stick with it.
I got a question for you. I like to ask coaches this from time to time. If you could go back and tell young Coach Chambless what you've learned through experience,
Man,
what would the first thing you told yourself?
If I could go back and tell myself when I was 12, 13, 14, when I was clumsy-footed and hadn't grown into that size 12 shoe, and clumsy like you know, couldn't make a layup, airball and free throws in practice, you know. And I guess the good thing is it's what I tell my son now, like, just stick with it. Keep working hard, you know. Things will occur later as long as you're working. You never quit. Keep a positive attitude. You can make things happen if you just stay with it and just consistently stay with it. And you know, I think that's what I try to tell these guys, man. Look, last night we're gonna probably play Hoax Bluff probably 2 more times this year, maybe even 3. I don't know, but last night, hey, all right, they got us. Big deal. We contributed to it some, you know, like they played well. We contributed to it. What we gonna do tomorrow? You know, what we gonna do tomorrow to fix what happened tonight? So, yeah, I wish I could go back in time and talk to myself a lot. But, you know, I think a lot of people say the same thing. But so, yeah.
When these guys graduate and these, you got 3 seniors this year, but not just this group, any group you've had, what do you hope that these young people take away from your coaching and teaching, some of the things like you took away from Coach Ginn?
Well, I hope more than anything, and you know, really basketball side is I hope they learn, you know, what it means to truly commit to something, to work through the good days and the bad days, because that's going to happen, and you know, to take each day with appreciation. You know, that's something we talk about before each game. Is we're thankful for the opportunity to do this. And me included, I have to remind myself, man, to be grateful of the blessings that, you know, God's given you, and to be grateful for the opportunities you have, because there's a whole lot of kids, a whole lot of guys, even my age, man, that don't have these opportunities.
That's right.
So, you know, I hope they take that, you know, and just gratitude and hard work.
That's right. That's the things that carry over your day-to-day life that help you get through.
Yeah, because we'll all play that last game. Michael Jordan played his last. I mean, if Michael Jordan plays his last one, we all will. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that moment come down with injury with me, and I was like, "Yeah, that's time to shut it down, brother. Shut down all the dreams. Shut down the glory." Yeah, I understand fully what you said there. Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out. I know you're during a break here at school today, and we're looking forward to covering you guys. Obviously, coming up in the Etowah County tournament and beyond. Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you.